As a lot of you know, I work where we have a lot of wood, and I tend to, shall we say, collect it. Some people might say I hoard it, but I needed something to do, so I thought of something. So with all those cut up boards, now I'm going to try and glue them together. I really don't like gluing up mass boards this way. I've not done it a lot. It always seems to get frustrating. They slide around and stuff, but I think this time I'll do it. Okay, I think. We'll see. Yeah, we'll see how that goes. So that's that. We'll see how that works. I put 3 cauls across the top to try to keep everything in alignment. Looks pretty good. And 2 pipe clamps. I really need some more pipe for my pipe clamps. Went a little sparing with the glue, so not sure how well that's going to work out. We'll have to see. But it's gluing, so we'll come back at another time and see how it all looks. So it's been a couple of hours, I think, probably, and I've done some other stuff around, let it cure, took the cauls off of it, kind of scraped some of the paint, or not the paint, the glue off of it, the big chisel, and cleaned it up a little bit so the glue doesn't stick too much. It actually worked out pretty well. It's nice and flat. Not as much squeeze out in some areas that I want, but we'll see how that works out when I keep processing it. So let me get the camera and I'll show you. So it came out pretty decent. Let's look down the edge of it. Yeah, not too bad. We'll trim it up, get the right dimensions on it, hit it with a plane, see how it works. Anyhow, that's for another time. So, I've obviously taken it out of the clamps, put it down here. I've cleaned up quite a bit of the glue that was on it with its fat chisel. And now I'm gonna use a plane on it. Probably gonna use 2 of them. I like this little number 2 that I picked up somewhere. I also like this number 5, but I think I'm going to hit it with this one first. It's a little bit narrower. It gets in between the grooves a little bit more. Maybe I can level out what wasn't real flat when I glued them together. So I'm going to take off on that. So I flipped it over, and there's still some glue in here, and it's a little bit thicker in some areas than I want to hit with the plane blade. It's really hard, and I'm kind of nervous that the nice edge that's on it could be damaged. So I'll just take this wide plane or chisel and try to get some of this off. It seems as though I'm fighting the grain a little bit going that way. So this could be rather interesting with the plane also. There. So it's mostly cleaned off. None of all the big chunks are gone. I'm going to try the plane on it. Maybe I'll try the number 4. Should we try that? Let's try the number 4. Had this plane for not a long time, so I'm not really sure how it's gonna work. We'll see what it does. Well, it's not really cutting much. Well, that seems to work pretty well. Number 4 is a really popular one. It's kind of wide. It's got the same width blade as the number 5 does. So number 4 is pretty popular. This is a really old one. Probably, well, it's got a 1902 address on it, or patent date on it. So it's been around a while. Anyhow, I'm going to keep cleaning this up. So this side was a little tougher. You may have seen me stopping a little bit, but the whole idea is that this long plane bridges gaps and it hits the high spots. So you should be able to get it as flat as the plane. When I look at it, you know, it's not perfect, but it's pretty flat. There's a little section right here. See if I can get you a close-up of it that as I was going cross grain, the blade caught and chipped it out. So I may have to trim that out. Maybe I'll just round it over a little bit. But you know, it's not great. There's some spots in the grain here that are not perfect, but overall it's pretty flat and it's what I'm looking for. So I think that's gonna work. Anyhow, I think sanding will probably be the next step. I think so. Ready?
Yep.
So I've done some stuff. You saw some sanding. You saw me cutting the edges off of it. You didn't see me route it. I ran the router around the outside edge because I forgot. I got carried away. I just did it. So I ran through 60 grit, 80 grit, 100, 180, and 240. And then I routed the edges, and I went over those again I went over the edges with 150, and then again, everything again with 120. So it turned out pretty good. I need to find a finish for it. I need to find some feet for it. So once I find those and get it finished, I'll probably be ready to give it to the person that's gonna get it. So I'll show you some more pictures of it up close. There's still a little bit of machine marks on the edge. It's maple. It's really hard. You can kind of see the rounded edges that I, don't really know how to do those well. I need to figure that out. But I think it turned out pretty well. Getting into my shadow. And we'll just use it as a cutting board. But not too bad for reclaimed wood. So I've been all around town today trying to find a cutting board or a breadboard conditioner or oil or any of that stuff, but they don't have any in our town. I also thought, oh, I need some screw-in feet for it. I don't have any of those either. So I ended up with mineral oil. It's actually a laxative. I don't know if that's a good idea. And I got some stick-on feet. I figure if the stick-on feet don't hold, then I can eventually find the screw-on feet and screw those in. So I guess we'll see how it works. And I'm gonna oil this thing up and see how it takes oil. I've never done this before. I was looking for either raw linseed oil or an affordable flaxseed oil. That doesn't exist anywhere. Or a cutting board conditioner. But I ended up with that. So we'll see how it goes. So, pour some on it. That might be enough. I don't know. I'll just spread it around. See how it absorbs. Being maple doesn't really absorb much. It'd be nice if it added some color, like boiled linseed oil. That's my favorite wood treatment. But even that doesn't do a whole lot with maple. All right, we'll let that sit for a while and see how it does. So I let the oil soak in for a while, and I put some feet on the bottom of it, and that's it, I think. So, well, it turned out great. It's got a few fleas. People will tell you that I'm never happy with anything that I do and always have an issue with it, but I think it looks nice. Maybe now she won't suggest it's hoarding.